There's this thing people do sometimes where they become unintentional marketers and almost evangelical about a cause or an idea, a belief or a storyline, and they go public with it, and they just can't help themselves from doing it. Oftentimes, it's when they buy into a storyline that helps them make sense of their lives. A good example of this is right here in Colorado Springs. I was just in the middle of the park. It's a Sunday evening, and they're having some people play guitar right in the middle of the park, and it's this guy who started to play a song, and he said his song is about me and how Jesus and God saved me from my addiction, and without Jesus, or maybe he said God, I don't know, one or the other, I won't be here today. And with that, he started playing, and I didn't stick around for the lyrics, but I'm sure there's some type of praising of Jesus and some type of hymn. What do you call it when you speak ill of yourself? Whatever that term is, him kind of just beating himself down, saying he was a bad boy and that he could never do life without the help of Jesus, and you know, shame on me for sinning and for engaging in those addictive behaviors. And so it's like a resurrection story. I was lost, but now I'm found. I was lost in addiction, but I came to see the light of God in Jesus. And I have to tell all of you about it, about this powerful force in my life, and you can have it too. And thus, the marketing is that you can have it too. I want to tell you the story, and I want to share the gift that I received, because I believe, yeah, and I'm a believer now, and I'm a conformist. I've conformed to the belief in the Jesus story, you know, or whatever religious story it is, and then he or she has his or her story, life story, structure, and then once he or she has that, they can just throw themselves into that storyline. So the structure is lost but now found because there is God in Jesus. Thank God I found him, and now I want to show you how to find him yourself, which sounds like, yeah, it sounds like a good tale, and it's just not based in reality. So what he did by sharing that story was just basically saying he needed a father, and he found a father. If you go to some of these Christian churches, you know, they have a prayer where they say the Our Father. So he's basically saying like, hey Dad, thank you for helping me do the right thing and correct my errors and see the correct way of living, and I'm ever grateful to you for that. Okay, so that's the story. If you're to drop it into reality, what really happened was the dude had intense emotions that he couldn't handle. So he went to drinking or drugs or sex or whatever it is, and he called it addiction because he did it all the time whenever he was feeling uncomfortable. So he felt uncomfortable, he engages in one of those like things, behaviors, whatever you want to call it, and then you create some type of social issue for other people. And now he's like a problem child or social outcast. And he thinks it's because he's drinking or using drugs or fucking too many girls or whatever. And so he calls it addiction. Okay, so if we now isolate the idea of emotion and contextualize his life, he was having emotions for a reason. All right, we feel things for a reason. And so he can almost guarantee had a mother or father who was emotionally neglectful, meaning didn't emotionally match him, or just abused the shit out of him. And he became angry and enraged towards them, but he couldn't handle admitting to himself that mom and dad are abusing me. And so he just went to drugs in order to break the pain of that reality, or in order to kind of massage that out and not feel it. And so his anger and intensity and all that shit would pour out of him while he was using drugs or alcohol or whatever, because the truth wanted to come out. Basically, he wanted to say, fuck you mom, fuck you dad, you're abusive, I hate you, we have no relationship except you abusing me. And that's the real story. So the story isn't his stopping using drugs or alcohol or hookers or whatever, isn't the doing of a Jesus or a God or anything. It's him just being tired and not wanting to do it anymore. And so, okay, fine. But the part of the story that never gets told, part of the story that he never reaches, is that I had abusive parents and I left them, and goddamn those motherfuckers, and I want you guys to know the gift I was given, right? To put it into those like religious terms, the freedom I experienced, again, those religious terms of, you know, freedom of being rescued by this like spiritual figure. But the freedom that I experienced by getting totally honest and realizing I got really fucked over by my parents, and now I've excluded them from my life, and now I don't have any intense feelings resulting from seeing them or interacting with them. And now I realized I was just an abused child, and there's nothing I could do but just get away from them. And if I had had just normal parents who weren't abusive, I would have just been fucking properly great and wouldn't have had any, in quotes, emotional disturbance or like mental health issues. Again, in quotes, mental health, because these are just made up terms some psychologists made up along the way. And it's really point blank, this story is this: if you're him, I was raised by assholes and cunts. They abused me to no end. They never formed a relationship with me. I got really sad and upset and angry. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't face the reality that these people who were supposed to protect me were attacking me and damaging me. And so I went to drugs, alcohol, and hookers just to try and manage my incredible loneliness, sadness, frustration, anger, and disbelief that they actually truly don't give a fuck about me. And so the story, the song would be, my parents don't give a fuck about me, and here's how and why. And then he'd be off on his guitar saying, my parents don't give a fuck about me. They used to talk down to me all the time. They would control every single move of my life. I had it. I started drinking my fucking ass off. In response to them, they acted like children. I acted like an adult. We couldn't get through. I could never get through. I wanted to just be a kid. But all they did was antagonize me, abuse me. And I'm so brokenhearted about it. Da 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 da.